just a couple of days ago, Binance got sued by the SEC, and now directly following that, Coinbase is getting sued by the SEC. And again, all this stuff, not very shocking. Binance getting sued and Coinbase. I think the SEC has been out for these two, for a while now. They've kind of been going back and forth, much more aggressively with Binance, less aggressively with Coinbase, but ultimately ending up in the same spot with both of them getting sued. I think one of the big claims against Coinbase from the SEC is things like this, saying Coinbase made billions of dollars unlawfully facilitating the buying and selling of crypto asset securities. I mean, they might have a big point there, right? I think the vast majority of these crypto things and crypto projects are securities. There's teams behind them. There's companies built behind them. They're literally just securities LARPing as crypto coins to try and be a little different and have easy liquidity and all this stuff. So I don't think that it's too crazy to say that they could be securities. It's definitely something that Coinbase knew was coming, or should have at least known was coming. They should have been expecting this for a while. And the way that Coinbase has been operating has been as kind of the crypto casino. It's the same model as Binance. And if you want to look into this SEC complaint that they filed, you can see a lot of people were saying for the Binance one, Ethereum wasn't mentioned, I think. So they were trying to say, oh my God, Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't securities. Greatest thing in the world. But in this one, Ethereum is actually listed because they talk about staking. So if you look at this, you can see this is talking about their staking programs, saying Coinbase has violated and continues to violate sections 5A and 5C of the Securities Act by engaging in the unregistered offer and sale of securities in connection with its staking program. And down here, you can see the different staking programs or tokens that they put out here, saying there's 5. They got Tezos, Cosmos, Ethereum, Cardano, and Solana. So Ethereum is mentioned in this as a security. So that means Bitcoin is the only one that's not a security, as I think everybody probably should have expected and knows deep down. Everybody knows that Ethereum is definitely, especially when you put in staking into Ethereum, that pushes it almost without a doubt into security stuff, the Howey test, and everyone said it's outdated, but it still passes it, right? So it doesn't really matter if it's so outdated and you're just, it's such new technology, but there's Ethereum, there's the Ethereum Foundation. Vitalik can basically sway anything that he wants in Ethereum. So it's not really some commodity that's decentralized. It's pretty controlled. Not to mention when it came about, first had pre-mines, pre-sales. It's much more of a mess, right, in Ethereum. So I think that's something that people got to kind of get over. I think Ethereum is going to be labeled as security, and probably rightfully so. And in response to this is Brian Armstrong, obviously the CEO of Coinbase. He put out a bunch of things here talking about the complaint, saying this is 4 points, saying, remember, the SEC reviewed our business and allowed us to become a public company in 2021. There's no path to come in and register, that they tried repeatedly. The SEC and CFTC have made conflicting statements and don't even agree on what is security and what is a commodity. And then this is what the U.S. Congress is introducing new legislation to fix the situation, and the rest of the world is moving to put clear rules in place to support this technology. So although you do have to take everything with a grain of salt, because obviously he is the CEO and founder of Coinbase, he's going to be a little biased, and he's going to be putting things that are positive for Coinbase, as the SEC would be putting things that are negative. Coinbase is going to be spinning things to try and be positive. But if you look at this, say the SEC reviewed their business and allowed us to become public, you just scroll down a little bit here, you can see someone pointing this out, saying, to the folks posting that it's unfair, the SEC is filing an action when they approved the Coinbase IPO, that Coinbase was warned the approval of the registration statement didn't mean approval of the underlying business activity, which I could probably agree with a lot of people. It's a little confusing, right? It seems a little weird to approve someone to go public, but then say that that doesn't mean their business model is approved. But like, why you approve them to go public then? I don't know. The SEC is not some great organization either. They're not the great protectors that they claim to be, but neither is Coinbase or Binance in terms of, listing things that are actually good. Coinbase used to be that. Coinbase used to be the major exchange where if you got on Coinbase, that was like a stamp of approval. And that basically meant your project, whatever project was on there, was top tier, grade A, best of the best. And then Coinbase continued to just snowball out of control. need to make more money, need to make those trading fees, and started listing everything and anything and became an altcoin casino, just like basically every other big exchange. But it is crazy to see Coinbase go down that path, right? They started as a Bitcoin only exchange. They only did Bitcoin. And then they added Litecoin and Ethereum, and that was all they did. Then they added Bitcoin Cash, and then they snowballed into everything they offer now, into the altcoin casino. And if you look at the past for Brian Armstrong, this is him in 2015 on Twitter. You can see him saying Ripple, Stellar, and altcoins are all distractions. Bitcoin is way too far ahead. We should be focused on Bitcoin and side chains. And that's Brian Armstrong in 2015 in Coinbase, when Coinbase was a much more, I think, respected exchange, where if you got listed on Coinbase, which, because they didn't list anything, right? They only had Bitcoin at that time, and then they got Ethereum and Litecoin, and then they had Bitcoin Cash. Those four like exploded on price when they got onto Coinbase, because it was like some stamp of approval that Coinbase only lists the best of the best, which, you know, I mean, Bitcoin Cash isn't the best of the best, but it's funny to see Brian Armstrong having that opinion before and now being where he is now, trying to run an exchange, running up the trading fees, just trying to squeeze out as much money as he can, and trying to run basically this altcoin casino and saying they're not securities, they're just altcoins. When in the past he was saying just how worthless they all really are. And then to top this all off, Coinbase themselves put out like a video here talking about in America, it's still, as crypto has come so long, America is still has a long way to go. And then they put out this video here, which is just them going over some numbers, like mentioned staking 57 times in their public report, met with the SEC for guidance 30 times. But all these numbers, like, they don't mean anything, right? They really don't mean anything. So what if you tried to do something and you said, what should we do here? And even if you got guidance, like they say they went for guidance, if the SEC said, no, I wouldn't do that, and then you still went and did it, it's your own fault, right? So the numbers don't really do anything. They don't say anything, and then update the system from Coinbase thing. It's always the same thing from these big exchange guys, because they want to keep running their casinos. They're making tons of money doing it. They don't want to get shut down, and they are going to say everything like, we're on your side, we're on the people's side, we're doing this and that, and we need to update the system. Crypto is great. That's what Coinbase always stand by. But even you can compare Brian Armstrong and CZ's response. This is Brian Armstrong's at the end. You can talk about him, talking about we'll get the job done. In the meantime, let's all keep moving forward and building as an industry, which is the same thing that CZ said, right? He said this is an attack on the industry. There's no industry. This is an attack on you, right? This is an attack on Coinbase. This is an attack on Binance, if you want to call it that. But the SEC is going after you guys, going after the security stuff and all of that, where you clearly just didn't do things by the rules. And Brian Armstrong, he wants to do things by the rules. So you should be happy to get this over with and figure out the rules. But for some reason, they're not happy. They're worried that their casino and money printer is going to be turned off because it's literally worthless. They're just running worthless altcoin casinos. And honestly, even if things getting labeled a security and Coinbase has to go through and become a securities exchange and stuff, they can do that, right? They can still do that. It doesn't mean that these cryptos that they're saying are securities disappear and go away. It just means you got to take the steps to play by the rules. And Coinbase has said, Brian Armstrong has said time and time again, that they want to play by the rules, that they want to do everything right. But now they're being told, okay, let's play by the rules. Now they're having a fit. Now they're throwing a fit and saying, what are you talking about? We're a public company. You approved us. You did this. You did that. We did this. When do you want to play by the rules or not? Do you mean what you say or not? It does feel like a lot of these CEOs and people who like found these big exchanges are really unhappy that their easy game might be coming to an end, because they've been running a very easy money printing casino with getting trading fees, listing these terrible coins that pump and dump, and they don't care, because if the price goes up or down, Coinbase makes money. It doesn't matter what happens to the price. If you buy it, Coinbase makes money. If you sell it, Coinbase makes money. Like, they don't care where the price goes. So to see all of them throwing a fit like this is just kind of like them getting mad that their game's coming to an end. And honestly, there's no good person or good organization or savior here. Like, the SEC is not some great protector. They're not the world's greatest agency, right? They're just as worthless as Coinbase and Binance is in protecting people. But it's just what's going on. Like, none of them are good. None of them should be worth it. And if your crypto project or crypto coin is dependent on some sort of news like this for the long term for being around, then it's not a very good project, and you probably shouldn't be putting your time into it. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.